never letting me go. Now I know the love I needed was right here all along. I know that love is enough to forgive all the hurt and pain. Love is enough to remove all the guilt and shame. Love is enough to make up for the hurt I made. I know that love is enough. God's love is enough. God's love is enough. God's love is enough. God's love is enough. Oh, I can't imagine living life without you here with me. So glad this love will last an eternity. Oh, what joy and happiness I feel when I call your name. Now it is plain to see your love for me has helped me sustain. I know that love is enough to forgive all the hurt and pain. Love is enough to remove all the guilt and shame. Love is enough to make up for the shortcomings. See, I know that love is enough. God's love is enough. Oh yeah, love is enough. God's 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 love is enough. I know that love is enough. Oh, somebody say love is enough. Everybody come on, let me hear you say love is enough. A love that's gentle, love that's kind. Love is enough. A love that gives me peace of mind. Love is enough. A love is enough to remove all doubt or fear. Love is enough to bring me through any situation. Love is enough to deliver me, to set me free. Love is enough. God's love is enough. I know His love, I know His love. Love is enough. It's a love that's freely given to me. Love is enough. And it's a special kind of love. Say love is enough. No greater love have I lived. Love is enough. Than to lay down His life for a friend. Love is enough. Now His love is inside me and you. Love is enough. So just spread love, just spread love. Love is enough. Everybody say.
Truly, the real you loves you. Truly, the real you loves you. Truly, the real you loves you. Truly.
All right.
Truly, the real you loves you because the real you
Is love.
is love. All right. You're going to get that mic position there?
Got me in the wrong place, but that's okay. And I think you have me too far over.
All right. Well, hello and welcome everyone out here on this great Friday, January 7th, 2022. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are in a brand new year. And whether you are prepared for it or not, it has begun. And so we are here tonight for our first episode of Truly Live here in 2022, episode 23. I'm excited. I got my beautiful wife next to me. I got my girlfriend next to me.
You got me long distance.
I
You have
got
me
a
so
long
far
distance.
away.
You want me to get close to you, babe?
No, no, no,
Well,
no.
you
I'm
actually
gonna
need to
move.
come in a little because you out of the picture.
Yeah, you moved me.
That's okay. Well, we always about pivoting and getting in the right position. You know about that.
But you moved me after we were in place, but that's okay.
I'm
Hello,
sorry.
hello, everyone.
All right. Y'all see that beautiful woman sitting next to me? Man, I'm telling you,
You
it's been
did this
31 and a half.
You
We've
did
been
this
riding
time.
this wave for 31 and a half, and we are the better for it. I would say so. What do you say, Yolanda?
I say so too.
All right.
You know what I want to say first?
What are you going
I
to
want to
say?
talk about the music that you had us going started with.
Oh, yeah. As you may have heard, where our theme in 2022 is that love is more than enough. And so the soundtrack that we played leading up to our kickoff here is from a CD. You want to talk about it?
Yes, the title of the song is Love is Enough.
Love is enough. Yes. Yes. Stand at the bottom. Number 11.
Yes, Love is Enough.
Love is enough.
And it's from the CD, A Tribute to the General. I think you need to give me a little more volume.
You need more volume?
Yeah. It's from the CD, A Tribute to the General.
How about that?
That's good. Thank you. And this was a CD that was done at our church, Christian Faith Center in Creedmoor, North Carolina. This CD was produced by Heaven's Bread. It was done back in 2002, and we have permission to use this from our pastor, Pastor Brenda Timberlake. And we thank her so much for that. This is I think this is our most favorite song.
Yes,
Yeah.
our favorite song, and that song is actually sung by one of our great friends, Ephraim.
Ephraim Daniels was
Daniels.
the leader in that
Yes.
song, but that was
Yes,
great.
yes,
That was
yes,
a
yes.
Heaven's Bread production, publishing and production project. And
Yes.
it's our absolute favorite song of all time. And we're just so grateful that Pastor Brenda Timberlake allowed us to use this. Allows us to
Yes.
use this.
All right. Well,
So hello and welcome, everyone.
hello and welcome, everyone. We'd like to give a shout out to those that are in here early.
So we're going to talk about our patrons that are on. Brenda Blue is on.
Thank you, Brenda.
So good to see you. And I know that our friends Carol and Bob are going to be on soon. They generally are. Let's see who else is on tonight. Brenda, let's see, Barbara Blue Swan, that's your sister, your second sister.
Hey,
She's
sister.
on. And Felicia Boone.
Hello, Felicia. We're giving you a shout out over there.
Yes. So hello,
And G.
hello.
Burrow.
Yes, hello.
Oh,
So
we're
good to-
so excited.
And I
tonight.
also know that she's an alumni. We went to the same college, and my soror, Juliet, is on. Hello,
Juliet. Well, hello,
Yes.
Juliet. Great to see you.
So very, very glad to see everyone.
Hey, well, are you feeling any difference that we're in a new year? Do you feel any different?
Every day is a day of excitement, and a day of wonder.
Yeah.
So
I'm just saying, there was a time when, when the year would flip over and there was
oh my goodness,
there was a sense of starting over or something new. But the
wiser I get, because I don't get older, I feel like every day is every 24 hours, they're all filled with all the possibilities. And so you don't have to wait to the end of a year or the beginning of the year. You just start over in the morning and just start fresh each day
That's
and
because
live life to the fullest.
because each day is new.
Each day
Hey,
is
guess
new.
what else? We've got another Ram family member on, Anthony Pace. Hello.
Well,
He
hello,
said,
Anthony.
He said, now this is a collaboration. I hear you, Anthony.
Well, Anthony, this is what you get when you take a boy from the projects and you marry him up with a young lady that was raised on a sharecropper's farm.
Mhm.
So you take a farm girl and a project boy, and this is what you get.
Absolutely.
Truly live. All right.
Absolutely. So welcome, and we're so glad that you all
Thank
are
you,
on.
Anthony, for being here. Well, we're excited because we got one of our friends, one of our college classmates.
He's an alumni.
Yeah.
Yes. Another Winston-Salem State
And
alumni.
he's going to be with us tonight, and we're excited that Chris is going to join us. We're focusing these first 2 months on well-being,
Mhm.
well-being, and because the old fable where it talks about the goose that laid the golden egg,
Okay.
and the owner of the goose, I think he got a little impatient that the goose wasn't producing the golden eggs fast enough. And so what he did was he took a knife and he split the goose open to try to get all the eggs at one time, and he killed the goose. You think he got any more eggs out of that goose?
No more
He got
eggs.
no more eggs. And so your life is the goose. You everything that you can imagine is inside of you. So it is very vital that your health, your well-being, is first and foremost, so that you continue to produce the golden eggs of life, your expression in life, your what you have to offer humanity. You have so much to offer us. We are so unique in our expression, and if you don't show up in the world and deposit all that's within you, we'll miss a lot. We'll miss those golden eggs. So we're going to spend the first 2 months concentrating on our well-being, and no greater way to start that than tonight, talking about an area that's important to all of us, which is taxation. And Chris is not only
Now, before you get into that, now we have been discussing since we've been on in July that our well-being has to do with our state of mind.
Oh, absolutely.
It's our state. And once we accept our state of being,
absolutely,
and bring our minds in alignment with that, then we're going to always have well-being.
Oh, always have well-being,
Always.
and then we'll be great managers of life. And we all know about we have to handle our business.
Yes.
And taxation is one area that we have to manage in life. And
Yes.
Chris is not only a master tax advisor, but he's also an entrepreneur, a businessman, a community leader. He's a family builder. He's I would call him a philanthropist.
Yes.
Yeah, he's very generous, and he's doing great things with
He's a
his life.
kind
And-
individual.
Yes.
Very kind.
And so why don't we just bring Chris on instead of do you need to shout out anyone else?
Well,
or
we're going to say
bring-
hello to Ronald Simpson because he's joined us. And
Well,
so
hello, Ronald.
Ronald, you're on just in time to
Hi, I know Ron.
greet-
Yeah.
yeah.
Ron used to be one of my clients.
Yeah. So Ron is on just in time to greet
Yes.
Chris Wilson with us.
Okay. So what
And
we-
Sheila Monroe Johnson has joined
well, hello,
us. So
Sheila. I was
Sheila's-
waiting on that name to pop
Sheila's
into
getting
the,
in here too.
Yeah, well, thank you, Sheila, for showing up. And I think, Sheila, I'm sure you know Chris, and he's a fellow Ram. And tonight is all things Rams. You see, we got our little Ramsley up here tonight. So I said I wasn't going to use that
I
tonight.
was hoping you were not, but anyway.
You're going to have to spank me after the show.
Ooh.
Ooh. All right, without any further ado.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm excited. I tell you, I'm excited,
Oh,
man.
listen.
I've been looking forward.
Let's bring Chris on.
We're gonna bring Chris on. Let's see if we can add Chris in here. All right. Hello,
Hey, guys.
Hey,
Hi,
how you doing,
Chris.
Chris?
I'm good. I'm well. How are you
Outstanding.
all?
We're doing wonderful.
Very good to see you.
I'm sitting here listening and enjoying you all as you open up the show here.
Well, thank you so much. And this is kind of what we do.
Yes.
You can set your clock by it
Right.
on every Friday from 7 to 8 o'clock. Truly live. We are out here in these digital communities, and we are sharing. First of all, love, and then we share transformational principles that we believe that are vital to all of us, and we share our experience as well as our training. And so we're just so happy that you're here with us tonight. Oh my God!
We are, Chris. And guess what? There are a number of Rams that are watching tonight. Walter Gaddy just got on.
Oh my
All
goodness!
right. From the
Well, hello,
north.
Walter. Thank you for coming into the house. Yeah.
And Diane Harrison has joined us. Hi, Diane.
Hey,
That's a dear
Diane.
friend of mine. Hello,
Yeah.
Diane.
Well,
Good to see
Diane
you.
is not only a friend, but she's a patron of Truly
Yes,
Live.
she is. That's another patron.
Yeah, so thank you,
Yes.
Diane. So, Chris.
Yes.
All right, man. I tell you what. Why don't you just? Well, let me just say. How can I say this? I tell you what. Why don't you just introduce yourself to this community in any way you feel comfortable?
Okay. First of all, happy Friday to everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to come on and share with you on this Friday night. I did hear you all talking about your health and your wealth. I always say that your first wealth is your health. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of our health before everything else, and just to do things in order. A little about me: I am Winston-Salem State University graduate. Along with Oliver and Yolanda, we trolled the campus together there many moons ago. And
Not well, it may
not,
have been many,
not that
many
many
moons for you and Oliver, but it's just been a moon for me.
She's still 29, Chris.
I'm maintaining, Chris. Come on.
All right, all right, all right. I didn't give away any
You did.
years there.
You did good. You did good, Chris.
That's her story, and she's sticking to it.
That's
All right, all right. So I'm originally from Shelby, North Carolina, and grew up there. Went to school in Winston. Worked for a few years in corporate America, and decided that I wanted to get into being an entrepreneur, and acquired a franchise opportunity with H&R Block about 19, 20 years ago. And at this point, we have 14 stores in North Carolina and Virginia. We also run the license plate agency, a tag agency in North Carolina, here in Durham, North Carolina. We now live in Durham. We've been here for over 30 years. So Durham is home for us. And some other entrepreneurial ventures. We are part of a ownership of a hotel down in Huntersville. We also are involved in student housing down in Charleston, South Carolina, and those real estate ventures are fairly new for us, but the primary focus for me, day in and day out, is really helping people as it relates to taxes, and in particular small business owners, making sure that they are getting what they need to be able to run their businesses and be efficient at doing that.
Wow. All
Outstanding.
right. Before we get into any more detail, how about if you're out there, this is valuable information we're going to be sharing tonight. How about like and share this so that others can have this available to them?
Yes, can get on and benefit from the
Yes.
information that we're going to glean from Chris.
Yes.
So,
Well-
Chris, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate your investment of time with our patrons, our family and friends, as we are all staying on our growing edge so that we can live our best lives.
Yes.
Well, I thank you for the invite. Friday night is usually date night for us, and so we're just delaying it by an hour.
All
All
right.
right.
Well,
Thank you, wife.
yeah.
Gwen is a RAM graduate as well, so another alum. So thank you
Yes.
guys.
Thank you so much, Gwen, for letting us have him for this hour. And Chris, wow, what a resume. There are so many areas that, and all are related to business, it appears, that you ventured into and bring great experience and wealth to this broadcast tonight. And we thank you for it.
Yes.
And everybody know, I mean, you can't avoid taxes. I mean, you can't avoid the responsibility to, share in the revenue that's needed to run our country. And all things tax a little bit tonight, but we render those taxes to the people that we're supposed to render them to them, and we render all the other things to the Almighty.
Yes.
So, Chris, with that said, we just ended 2021.
Yes.
So that means there's nothing we can do about what happened in 2021. Is that correct?
Yeah. For the most part, there are still some opportunities to make some changes that will impact your 2021 tax return. For example, if you still wanted to contribute to an IRA for 2021, even though we're into 22, you still have up to April the 15th to do that. So you still have that option on the table.
Okay.
For example.
Okay. So, when's the deadline for making contributions?
So this year, the last day for taxes is April the 18th. And typically in the month of April, you'll find a lot of people trying to find tax write-offs and deductions. And that's when that gets really busy for financial planners and advisors and things of that nature. People are trying to park money into an IRA to get a better tax outcome, those types of things. So April usually is a time where you see that kind of activity going on as well.
So April 15th is the tax deadline in 2022?
April 18th.
18th?
This year.
This
All
year.
right.
The
And that's
15th falls on a weekend.
okay. So it's the 18th. And so that's for personal taxes. So if you are business tax, that's a different date for that, correct?
There's different dates for that. If you have a partnership or an S corporation, your deadline to file those returns are March the 15th. And the government changed that a few years back to kind of put that in front of your personal filing, because those business returns generate K-1s that are also used for filing in your personal returns. So they moved those back to March 15th and then left the personal deadline at April 15th.
Yeah. Well, with the last 2 years of the pandemic, there's been a tremendous increase with people setting up limited liability corporations, LLCs.
Yes.
And with that being said, you got a lot of new business owners that are in that arena now and not having the experience with business tax. But with an LLC, you can marry that up, or can that be married up with your personal tax filing? And if so, then you're subject to the personal tax filing date. Is that correct?
That is correct. An LLC is probably the most flexible business entity type you can use. When someone has an LLC, it could actually be a corporation, it could be an S Corp, it could be a partnership, or it could be a sole proprietor. So you don't really know by just looking at the name of the company. You have to get a little more detail in terms of what that is. But most LLCs are set up as sole proprietors. In fact, most African Americans that are in business, 95% of them actually have their business set up as a sole proprietor. And there are some advantages to doing it that way, and there are some disadvantages to doing that way. And one of the advantages, of course, is it's an easy thing to set up. And the life of the company kind of goes along with the individual, and easy to operate. But if you get to the point in your sole proprietor where you're generating significant amount of income on a regular basis through the company, then you want to start thinking about graduating from the Schedule C up to the S Corp. And the reason you want to do that is so that you can have better control over your taxation, the tax situation. For example, if you make $50,000 in a sole proprietor business, 100% of that money is going to be taxable or self-employment tax.
Mhm.
And that's basically the Social Security tax. Social Security will be taxed. And then also there's the income tax as well. Now, if you're making, $50,000 consistently year in and year out, one of the things I would recommend that you do is to look at graduating up to the S Corp, and moving away from the Schedule C. And by doing that, you can control how much of your tax, how much of your revenue is actually taxed by Social Security. For example, let's say you make $100,000 in your business. If you're an S corporation, you have to set up payroll and bookkeeping as an S corporation, or you should. And then at that point, you could run half of the revenue that you earned through the W-2 process, which also pays the Social Security tax. But the other $50,000, you don't have to do that. For example, the other 50 could just fall right to the bottom line and just be subject to income tax. So by doing that, you cut your Social Security tax in half. And that could be on $100,000. That's a savings of about $7,500.
Yes.
And so, yeah, while you want to make sure that you're paying into the Social Security over the course of your life, you also want to make sure that you have control over how much money is actually going in there. And you can do that and manage that better if you're an S Corp, as opposed to being a sole proprietor where 100% of your profits is always subject to the self-employment tax.
Yeah. So the advice that you hear all the time is that everyone should have an LLC. Is that true?
That's interesting, because our chancellor at our university, Chancellor Robinson, his motto this day and time is he wants everybody to graduate with a degree in one hand and a business plan in the other. So entrepreneurship is rising to the top. It's high time for African Americans to start. We're very creative. We can do a lot of things as it relates to business. We just need to be about actually creating those business plans, getting the funding that you need, and getting out there and getting your businesses started.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Because, my story, probably for the last, I would say, 10 years, you and I have been connected.
That's right.
So I've been gleaming and learning from a lot of wisdom and advice that you share with me, where it pertains to, working corporate work and, owning your own business and different tax structures and S corps and LLCs and I thank you for that. Thank you for mentoring one of my sons who's a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
so I have like you said, all of us are gifted people, and all of us have something unique that we can bring to the world and monetize. And but then again, a lot of people are in 9-to-5s, corporate jobs.
That's right.
But
That's right.
one way to one way to, a lot of people start that small business or that LLC prior to leaving the corporate because their desire is to work for themselves, to mind their own business.
Right.
And and so you would say that the path to that would be to establishing that LLC. Is that where?
Yes. Establishing the LLC is a good first step. I that's the path I took. I started work. Well, actually, my father and my grandfather were entrepreneurs. My father was an entrepreneur. My grandfather was a plumber. My father had a janitorial business, and there were days when I on the weekend my grandfather worked in a mill on third shift, but then he did plumbing on the side on the weekend. So his weekend help was the grandkids.
Smart man.
And his younger son. So there were days when I on Saturday morning I get home from working on plumbing, get out of the plumbing truck, and then climb right into the janitorial truck. So I was labor for both of those. But in hindsight, that was my first introduction to entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And I knew it was something that was viable. I knew it was something that I could do. And so didn't realize how valuable that was to me at the time. But certainly that's part of my pedigree is growing up with some entrepreneurs.
And that's great. So Chris, Ronaldo has joined us, and we'd like to welcome him. And Montez Bates.
Yeah, Montez and Ronaldo are Rams.
Yeah. So
All right.
We got a house full of Rams tonight.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, and then there's a question. And I don't know if you want to answer this question now or if you're planning to answer it a little later. But Walter Gaddy has asked he said, ask Chris if there are any tax breaks for small businesses due to COVID events in 2021, where we need to make sure we claim them before they go away.
Yes, there are some tax breaks that are COVID related. Like if you're a small business owner and you have employees, that you can get credits for allowing them to take time off of work, to go get tested, and time away from work. There have been a tremendous amount of tax money available as a result of this entire COVID environment. Back in 2020, of course, there was a PPP money that was available to small business owners. You heard a lot about that in the news during that time. There's also one credit that is not so well known. It's called the employee retention credit, that small business can get a credit for their payroll, the funds they pay in payroll. They can get a portion of that back from the IRS in the form of a retention credit. Mm-hmm. So those are things that you know, if you haven't taken advantage of them, you can still file an amended return for 2020 and the first part of 21, and still apply for and eventually get those funds. I say eventually. The IRS is behind on processing a lot of things. These employee retention amendment credits, while several people have filed for them, they haven't been paid out yet. Mm-hmm. But eventually they will be, and those are some things that you can take advantage of. But in 2021, there's still the testing component that you can get an employee retention credit for as a result of giving your employees time off to get those tests done.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
So thank you, Chris, for answering that question. And Walter, thank you for asking it.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
Yeah. And you mentioned credits. You and I had the discussion, I think, on yesterday concerning the child tax credits.
That's right.
Would you like to share some insight on that?
Yeah, so that's been one of the big tax breaks since middle of last year. The government started issuing checks in June. I think the first checks rolled off in June 15th, and they ran every month through the month of December. And if you had children under the age of 18, you were able to get $350 for anyone under 6 and $250 for anyone under 18 per month per child. And that went for 6 months through the month of December. The plan was for that to continue on, but that's part of what got caught up in the Build Back Better bill that has just kind of been derailed. But those funds were available. It was part. It allowed you to get part of what you would normally get at tax time in advance of the 6 months. So there's going to be a reconciliation process that takes place when you file your tax return this year on the funds that you received for the second half of last year. So and you'll have to reconcile it. If you got more than you were entitled to, then you'll have to, offset that and pay it back. If you didn't get everything you were entitled to, there's an opportunity to get that as well. So there will be a reconciliation period for those funds. And typically, in the last few years, you were able to get child tax credit of $3,000 per kid, and that was typically paid out one time at tax time. They split it up and gave part of it for the last half of last year, and you get the rest when you file your taxes this year. But the most important thing I want to point out here is most people think you have to have, in order to file a tax return, you have to have worked and earned money or have some source of income. And in order to get the child tax credit, you don't necessarily have to have earned income. And that's a category that we're called the not required to file category. And the only reason you would be filing is to get the child tax credit. And so there's if anyone falls into that category where they don't have any income, but they do have children and no one else is claiming those children, they can actually file a tax return and get that child tax credit for those kids that they're responsible for.
Wow, that's great information.
That's important to know, because I'm sure there's some people that have that scenario.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So this person has been on before, and I'm not certain how to pronounce their name, but DZ Hazor. We would love for you to put in where you're from. And if you want to include how to pronounce your name, we'd love to know that as well. But the name was on before, and I just wasn't even brave enough to even try it. But welcome. That person is on as well.
Yes. And if you happen to stumble into this live broadcast tonight, since we've started, this is Truly Live with co-host Oliver and Yolanda Blue. And tonight, our first episode in the year 2022, we have a very special guest with us, Chris Wilson, who's a master tax advisor, business entrepreneur, philanthropist, family man, just a great guy. And thank you, Chris, for what you've already shared with us. It's been real beneficial.
This is good information. So, and if you have questions, we ask that you put those questions in the chat, and we'll ask Chris to answer those for you.
So, Chris, there's a we're of the boomer, the baby boomer era,
right.
And so a lot of us are retiring now, or contemplating retirement, or preparing for retirement. And we want to give a shout out to all those that retired in 2021. I know some of our classmates have retired right at a lot of people retire at the end of the year.
Yes.
And so their tax status or their tax approach will change with that retirement, because there are a lot of things that are brought in, like Social Security and Medicaid, Medicare, and you're dealing with annuities and pensions, and so there's a
lots of decisions to be made.
A lot of decisions to be made.
Yeah.
And so what would you, and critical decisions to be made. So what general top 3 things that group should be considering or aware of, or making decisions about, or getting more information on?
So in my line of work here, of course, we see tax returns of all shapes and sizes and from all backgrounds. And one of the things that's just kind of struck me is, particularly in the African American community, we tend to be big users of the annuities. That's a situation where we will work somewhere for a lifetime or a career at one place that's getting to be less and less. But the concept is the same. As you get closer to retirement, hopefully you've amassed an amount of money or a nest egg that you're planning to use in retirement. Oftentimes, particularly African Americans, we are faced with converting those funds into an annuity. And to me, that's not a good value for our community. But let's say, for example, you've got three, four, $500,000 amassed, and you convert that to an annuity. You may live, 5 years into retirement or 10 years into retirement, and you will not have used all of those funds. And so whatever at the point you expire, whatever money is left goes to the insurance company.
Wow.
That's typically what happens. And so your life savings will go away once you annuitize it. Yes, it gives you the benefit of having a steady monthly income. But the flip side of that is if you live 25, 30 years into retirement, that number doesn't change.
Right.
So if you're getting $800 a month from an annuity, 30 years from now, $800 is not going to be enough to make it work for you.
That's right.
So you somehow have got to continue to keep control of your funds and keep control of the growth mechanism to keep your investment money growing and working for you. And then at the point you do expire, it becomes inheritance for your family. And that's what gives our generation a leg up as the next generation, is if there's some inheritance left for them to stand on and to be able to propel themselves forward from there.
Mhm.
So that's just a concept for me. That's a strategy that I often talk to people about. The question always is, should I take my Social Security at 62 or should I wait till I'm 70? Well, you'd get more. You get 32% more if you waited till you were 70. But you're rolling the dice at that point. You don't know if you're going to live that long. That's always everybody's excuse. My recommendation is to take your Social Security money as soon as you can get your hands on it, particularly the African American community, because of our lifespans on average is not such that we're going to live long into retirement. That's getting better and it's improving as our health improves.
Yes.
Remember, we talked about up front of the workshop, your health is your first wealth. So you want to make sure that whether you live a short life in retirement, you want to make sure some inheritance is left for somebody to take over. And if you live long in retirement, you want to make sure that your money is going to be able to keep pace with inflation, so that you don't get to the point to where you got to get back into the workforce at some point because your money is not going as far as it used to go. And that's what we see day in and day out. From time to time,
Yes.
you'll see people getting back into the workforce. And it's not because they want to, it's because, the inflation has just taken a toll on that annuity that looked good in year 1, year 2, year 3. But after that, it's starting to test you.
Wow, man,
That's good information.
That's good information, and that's a lot. Man, you got to manage your business. That's a lot to consider.
And this is why it is very beneficial for us to talk. We don't have to necessarily know everything. We just need to know who knows and then be open and willing to hear. We talk about having a coach,
Yes.
a teacher, a mentor, someone that helps guide us into these various things. And this is all information that you make it your business to know, so that we don't necessarily have to know all of this stuff. But it's kind of hard to be working with someone and not learn some stuff along the way. So it would be incredibly beneficial. I know you moved on, but there are a couple of questions here that Felicia asked about write-offs for having a small business or for having a home-based business. Are there specific write-offs that can be done?
So with any business, there are expenses. If you've got a home-based business, if you've got a place in your home that you dedicate to that, like a home office, you can write that off. You can actually depreciate part of your home as a result of doing that. You got to be careful with that. There's a couple of ways to do that, and one is more beneficial than the other. But yeah, though, most businesses have some expenses, and you just got to be good about keeping track of those expenses. And one of the services we offer small businesses is a bookkeeping service. If you're running a business, you want to focus on running the business. You want to stay out of trouble with your sales tax. You want to stay out of trouble with the state, the federal. You want to focus all or most of your time on running and executing your business. So it's really worthwhile to hire somebody to help you with the books and the bookkeeping, and to advise you in that way. And also, when it's time and when you're ready, to help you to implement a payroll system for when you hire your first employees, and go from there.
Outstanding. There's Felicia, thank you for that question. There is hello, the pastors are on from Cornerstone, Pastor Sawyer and co-pastor Tony.
She's got a question there too.
So she said, and they've got a question. It says, I've heard that Cash App, Zelle. Oh, yeah, let's do that. We'll put her question up on the. So she said she's heard that Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, etc., will be taxable income this year. Can you please address, and how should we prepare for this?
So that's kind of a tricky question. If you're being paid through these programs, that's one thing. But if you're sending money to your kids one way or the other, you have to be able to separate the two. And so I would, if you've got a Cash App that's for business, I would keep it that way. If you got one for personal, I would keep it that way. Never mix the two. And so any income that you earn is always taxable, whether it's in Cash App or wherever. Now these online cash transfer tools makes it easier for the government to track what's going on. And so this year they've changed it to where it used to be $20,000 and a certain number of transactions before you had to get a 1099-K for these transactions that were taking place electronically. This year they changed it to be just anything over $600, and there's no limit on the number of transactions. So the government's really getting to the point to where they want to see what's happening on these digital platforms as it relates to any business transactions that are taking place. So technically, anybody that's making money, the vendor or the provider should be providing you with a 1099-K that's going to show how much money they actually paid you.
Right.
And once you get into the 1099s, a copy of that is going to the government, a copy of it is going to the state, and a copy of it is going to you. And so the government at that point knows what to expect when you file your tax return. And if you don't put it on there, then they're going to, you may get away with it in April, but in July, when you get back from vacation, it'll be waiting for you in the mailbox.
Exactly. Wow.
Tell me about it, Chris. Oh my goodness. Look, one thing I tell my kids, Yolanda and I have told our children
For a long
for a
time.
long time, don't play with the government money.
Well,
Don't
don't
play
play
with
with the money that the
it.
government,
That's right.
has decided is theirs.
That's right. Don't play
So-
with it. Yes.
So there's another
That's good
question.
advice.
There's another question. So Barbara Swan is asking if you're taking on new clients for taxes.
Are we taking on new clients? There's always room for one more.
Yeah. Our niece, you're working with our niece now too. So that's another one who
Yes.
has expanded her small business,
Yes.
and that's great. And there's another question, Diane. So thank you guys for these questions. And our patrons, our super patrons, Bob and Carol, are now on. Hi guys, we're
Hey
glad
Bob,
you're
hey
here.
Carol, thanks for joining us.
Diane Harrison wants to know: can you write off working from home due to COVID?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. And it gets tricky as well. You know, a lot of folk have, like, for example, in New York, if you're domiciled in New York and your job is in New York, but you happen to be working in Florida, or Florida may not be a good example. They don't have a state tax there, but if you happen to be working in North Carolina, but your job's in New York and you remote working, you're going to be faced with a taxable situation in North Carolina and New York.
Wow.
Whoa, my goodness.
Wow.
Yes.
You might need to repeat that.
So yeah, the from a remote standpoint, you know, wherever you're going to work from, that state may be looking to get a portion of that taxable income as a result of you physically being in that state. So you got to be careful with that, and you want to make sure that you're reporting it the right way.
Yeah. But there's no writing off living in the state that you live in and working from home because of COVID. There is no tax write-off for that.
No, and there isn't. You know, the employers have a place for you to work for the most part, but that, you know, we're getting to the point to where remote work is getting to be the thing of the future.
Yeah.
But the tax laws just haven't quite caught up with it, you know, at this point in time.
Right.
Wow.
Wow. Diane, thank you for that question. John D. Berry has joined us. Hello, John.
Hey Johnny, how you doing? If you have joined us over the last 10-15 minutes, we're here with our special guest,
And
Chris
getting
Wilson,
great information.
our master tax advisor,
Yes.
getting great information. How about liking and sharing this live show so we can extend this information to as many in the digital world as possible. This is very valuable information. And Chris, we're kind of bumping up against the top of the hour, so we got to have you back.
All right,
And,
I'd love to come back.
yeah.
One piece of information I'd like to leave for the college kids,
Yes.
new on their taxes, if they're working on campus doing work study. In the past, that income had been taxable. This year, it is not. For 2021, it is not taxable.
Wow. So if you got
so if you got work study income, it's not taxable at the federal level. It may still be taxable at the state level, but just be mindful of that as you're dealing with your kids in college, and if they're making any money in that way, it won't be taxable.
Chris, here's an area that's that COVID have impacted, and that is the church, the nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of churches have gone almost completely virtual.
Yeah.
Some are doing a combination of on-site and virtual. How does that impact that community, the tax law?
You know, from what I've seen, if you can pivot and get to the point to where you can do live streaming and you've got online payment capabilities, if you've got a modernized approach to doing this, it's working out really well for those churches that can pivot and take advantage of it. Their expenses are lower. the income is coming in at the same rate that it has always come in, because you can do it electronically. So their cash flow is a little bit better, and they're also eligible for the PPP money. So a lot of them got the PPP money that doesn't have to be paid back, and that's the scenario I'm seeing in a lot of the nonprofits. They were eligible for that, particularly in the church community.
So
churches are they're doing okay. I don't think they're suffering, unless they aren't able to pivot and move to that online and digital environment.
Right. So there are two questions, and I'm going to ask them out of order because we are going to answer Walter Gaddy's question anyway. But Brenda Blue wanted to know what tax write-off do educators get due to COVID?
Well, new this year for the educators is any PPP expenditure they have, they get the $250 deduction, and there are certain things that money has to be spent on, but you can spend up to $250 on PPP and have that deducted.
Okay, outstanding.
No, I'm sorry, not PPP, but your personal protective equipment,
PPE. Yeah, PPE.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So Walter, thank you, Brenda, for that question. Walter Gaddy wanted to know if this live program is available for replays, and
yes,
always,
Walter. We will replay this as a live show again at 9:00 tonight, and
on the same platform, which is YouTube, and that's at Truly OB.
Twitter, Truly OB,
and on Facebook
at Truly OB. So you can get the replays of any of Truly Live shows on my personal Facebook page, Oliver Blue, or you can go to our business page, which is Truly OB, or you can go to my Twitter account, or and then our YouTube account.
We like for you to go to YouTube because all of the programs are there. They're in order.
Yes.
You can actually leave a comment. We can see those comments and we can actually address the comments if you go to
and
YouTube.
We'd love for you to go to YouTube and subscribe.
Yes.
So that we can continue to.
And if you subscribe, then you're going to get the notices when we come on. And as Oliver said, remember to like and share
here.
And this is good information because you may not have heard it. You may not have been able to get it all, but Oliver will run this again live tonight
at 9:00
at 9:00 on all of those platforms, and all of them are at Truly TRULYOB.
Right, and we will be monitoring the comments at 9:00. We're gonna have Chris back. Wow. We got to, because
Chris,
I'm sure stretched the surface. And especially if you're a patron, we're going to really have Chris this year come into our patron community and speak to all of our patrons, and they'll have a direct opportunity to ask him questions one-on-one in a Zoom environment. So you want to become a patron of Truly Live.
Yes.
Why? Because there's so many benefits. We're going to have experts like Chris that will be coming and speaking behind the scene with this additional content that you get from being a patron. We're going to have people that are with health and wellness.
Yeah, several of the people that have agreed to be guests have already said that they would love to come and spend intimate time with our patrons, where you'll get to really ask questions and that kind of thing.
So you want to become a patron of Truly Live, and it's easy to do. You just you can go to www.patreon.com and / Truly Live, and then sign up. It's only $6.
Put it up on the
board.
Let
me go ahead and put it up.
Yeah, put that up right quick.
It's only $6 a month or $72 a year for this level of information that you're going to be getting. And did I get it up?
Yes.
Oh, that's the ticker though, isn't it? I want the ticker. Let me see if I can. Right there.
Yes.
So yes,
still ticking.
Yeah, still ticking. But www.patreon.com / Truly Live. Just go there, and there's 2 levels that you can become a patron of this, and basically you're supporting this live show, and you're helping Yolanda and I to create content that goes out in these digital streets.
So you did the $6 per month.
$6 per month,
or-
or you can become a premier patron,
and that
and that is $20 a month. Or
$25 per month.
$20 a month,
per month,
or
I'm sorry.
$240 a year.
$240 per year.
And I mean, you could take one of these episodes that we do when we bring our experts on, and the value is there in just one episode. Even tonight, it's worth the value. So get on over to Patreon and sign up. For those that sign up by January 31st, there's a special gift for you. So come on, man. We got 52 episodes of Truly Live this year, and it's going to be truly live and
All right.
informative. Yes.
If you want to share my information
Yeah,
with
we do.
folks, my email address is chwilson@hrblock.com.
Can you type that in on here? Oh, your email?
My email, that's my email, chwilson@hrblock.com. And you can reach me in my Durham office at 919-294-8598. Happy to work with any of your listeners and do what we can to help.
Repeat your phone number.
It's 919-294-8598.
8958
294-8598.
859.
Okay, so the email address is up there, right? So his email address is chwilson@hrblock.com. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And then the phone number.
And then the phone number is 919-294-8598. Is that correct?
That is correct. And you can also link with me on LinkedIn, and I'm always sharing tax updates there as well. And we keep it current with the situation and what's going on at the time.
And they just search your name, correct?
That's correct.
And LinkedIn, Chris Wilson.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Chris.
Wow.
That was just phenomenal. We appreciate it so much.
All
Yeah.
right. Happy to do it. Happy Friday evening to you.
And tell Gwen again, thank you so much for sharing the date
All
night
right.
time with us. We appreciate that.
All right. Will do.
Wow, this has been great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, patrons. Thank you, friends and family.
We have to do our blessing. So Chris,
Yes.
we like
Got it?
to don't you know it, sweetie? We like to do a blessing each night. It's actually the Dalai Lama loving kindness meditation, but we do this each night as we do it as a blessing for each of our for the people that are on the program. So we'd like to do that again tonight,
Okay.
like we always do. Okay, are you ready, Oliver?
Absolutely.
So we bless all of you guys who have joined with us, and for everyone that you hold near and dear into your heart. May you be truly happy.
May you live in peace.
May you live in love.
May you know the power of forgiveness.
May you live in the recognition that your life has deep meaning and good purpose. That's from the Dalai Lama. And then Oliver and I added,
may you live in the awareness of who you truly are in God.
and we extend this blessing to every being that's on the planet.
All right.
So thank you guys so much for
Thank
being
you
with
so
us
much.
tonight. Chris, that was phenomenal.
Thank you, Chris. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Happy to do it.
Yes. And 2022 is going to be a great year to be partnered with Truly Live. We got so much that we're going to share with you guys this year.
Yes.
And so with that said,
We'll see you guys that want to get on again live at 9
o'clock tonight. Yes.
all on all the platforms, Truly OB. And we'll be monitoring the comments. And then you can always go back to watch all the replays on YouTube.
At Truly OB.
Thank
Well,
you.
with that said, my name is Oliver Blue.
I'm Yolanda.
And we're the OK Blues.
Wow.
I know I have not always been what you want me to be, wished your sweet love